Good day, welcome to your news at noon on Kaieteur Radio. I'm Kevin Smith. We took a short break to bring you your news at noon, and after this, we will resume the rebroadcast of the Glenn Lal Show. Cost recovery is considered an integral part of PSAs that are signed between governments and oil companies. The mechanism is one that allows operators to recoup money spent for activities regarding exploration, development, and production of oil and gas resources. But the process, if not properly scrutinized by governments, is often used by oil companies to rob nations of billions of dollars by inflating costs. In fact, the Center for Public Integrity, or CPI, which researched this matter for decades, has documented many of the ways oil companies go about abusing the cost recovery process. In some cases, the international watchdog on corruption said that expenses claimed by oil companies have been found to be simply ineligible. Examples drawn from hundreds of cases between 2000 to 2015 include companies seeking to claim expenses incurred prior to the signing of the host government agreement contract, expenses for personal interests of executives, expatriate employees and families, expenses for the technical training of expatriates, a duplicate invoice for a good or service that has already been expensed, and inclusion of expenses such as oil and gas marketing fees. In other cases, CPI stated that the price of legitimate goods and services are intentionally inflated. And in light of the fact that the oil and gas sector is prone to corruption, Guyana is being urged to increase beneficial ownership screening so as to reduce the sector's risk of corruption. This was recently noted by the Natural Resource Governance Institute, an independent non-profit organization dedicated to improving countries' governance over their natural resources. The institute noted that in most natural resource-rich countries, when a company is seeking the right to explore for or produce oil, gas, or minerals, sector rules require that regulators check some basic information before granting the company a license and accompanying contract. In Guyana, there is no legislation or piece of regulation which requires beneficial ownership screening. On that note, NRGI has pointed out that a growing number of governments are developing legal policies and information systems for collecting and publishing data about the beneficial owners of extractive companies, the real people who own, control, or economically benefit from a company. And in other news, Guyana, according to the Ministry of Natural Resources in its 2023 Energy Brief released on February 14th last, has projected that revenues from production of crude in the Stabroek Block will accelerate to more than $10 billion annually by the end of this decade. This would represent the country's 14.5% take from production by that time. As such, it would mean that the total revenue being had from the Stabroek Block would be some $70 billion annually. With ExxonMobil's subsidiary, Esso, and its partners, Hess Corporation and Sinnoh Petroleum Limited, still being able to recover up to 75% of revenues along with their profits, it would see them earning $58.9 billion for its 85.5% total take. And in other news, there was high drama at the Region 4 flag-raising ceremony on Wednesday when the Regional Executive Officer Donald Gadraj grabbed the microphone from Region 4 Regional Chairman Daniel Seram in a bid to stop an impromptu speech by Opposition Member of Parliament Catherine Hughes. In a Facebook post, Seram stated that the activity was marred by the inappropriate and vile actions by REO Gadraj. According to Seram, as he finished his remarks as chairman of the region at the event, he said he noticed that the program was predominantly male-dominated and therefore invited the Honorable Catherine Hughes to give brief remarks and add diversity. According to Seram, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony and other members of Parliament, members of the Joint Services, school children and other local, regional and national stakeholders were at the event when the incident occurred. And just before we head to a short break, let's tell you that ranks from the Customs Anti-Narcotics Unit on Wednesday caught a Nigerian man trying to post cocaine through the Guyana Post Office Corporation. KANU identified the Nigerian national as 33-year-old Michael Emmanuel Oud of Golden Grove, East Bank, Demerara. Further investigations resulted in the KANU arresting another Nigerian national, 26-year-old Gift Obaya of Ling Avenue, Georgetown, who is suspected to be Oud's accomplice. According to KANU, ranks were performing duties at the Georgetown post office when they saw Oud attempting to post a box containing several items. Get the full details in today's Kaieteur News. And of course, this is your news at noon. We'll return shortly after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Police on Wednesday arrested a vendor at his La Parfait Harmony West Bank Demerara home after he confessed to hustling weed for a living. According to police, Ranks went to his house around 5 hours after receiving information that illegal activities might be taking place there. The police requested to search his home and he invited them in. A few moments later, they found a bulky plastic bag next to his bed. Inside, the Ranks found some 390 grams of marijuana parceled off in Ziploc bags. When asked if the drugs belongs to him, the vendor responded that he hustles it. And the 18-year-old woman accused of killing her reputed husband on Sunday at Lima Sands, Essequibo Coast, Region 2, was on Wednesday charged for his murder. Riona Moses appeared at the Suddy Magistrates Court before Magistrate Crystal Lambert. It is alleged that Moses stabbed 27-year-old Anthony Shivlal to death at approximately 2 hours on Sunday at McNabb, Lima Sands. The teen was not required to plead to the indictable charge and was remanded to prison until March 28. According to reports, Moses reportedly confessed to murdering the man in her grandmother's home. And now let's tell you, a new study conducted by the Pan American Health Organization and partners found that between the years 2000 and 2019, the main drivers behind suicide mortality in the Americas has been unemployment, educational inequality, homicide, and the use of alcohol. PAHO said the study, which was published on Thursday in the Lancet Regional Health, Americas, highlights the importance of considering gender-specific social determinants of suicide when developing risk reduction interventions and prevention strategies. According to PAHO, the study contextual factors associated with country-level suicide mortality in the Americas 2000 to 2019 and identified while homicide and the use of alcohol and other substances are associated with an increase in suicide mortality among males, educational inequality was the main factor among females. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Public Works has set aside some $113.4 million to continue Phase 2 of the Mollison Creek to El Dorado Road project. 6 contractors submitted bids for the project when the bids opened at the NPTAP office. It was reported in the media that Mollison Creek to El Dorado Road project has been ongoing for some time. And Vice President Bharat Jagdeo and India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar, during a meeting on Thursday, have agreed to continue strengthening bilateral partnerships in various sectors, including petroleum and natural gas, agriculture, agro-processing, education, healthcare, capacity building, ICT, renewable energy, and climate change. Jagdeo is in India on an official visit from February 20th to 25th at the invitation of the Vice President of India. He is accompanied by Senior Minister in the Office of the President with responsibility for finance, Dr. Ashni Singh. And on that note, we close things off with a little bluntness by turning the pages of today's Kaieteur News to page 7. All eyes on the Speaker. The opposition is asking for all gas-to-energy documents. All the Speaker has been about with things like these is nay, not here. What will the Speaker do now? What will he fear? The Speaker can manifest that he is a Guyanese of principle, or demonstrate of whom he is a disciple. And that brings us to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's Newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.